I stood in that room holding a letter that should never have existed, and in that moment I realized the most dangerous thing was not losing her, but understanding how close I came to destroying true love forever. The room smelled of rain and old paper as cold air pressed against my skin, and the ticking clock sounded louder than my own thoughts while I stood by the window watching streetlights flicker and feeling my hands tremble from something deeper than fear. Then slow footsteps echoed behind me, and memories of the first time I met her rushed back with sunlight in her hair and a smile that once felt like home, but now silence felt sharp and heavy as she softly said my name, and I turned to see red eyes filled with pain and love together. The walls closing in as I noticed the small scar on her hand from the day she protected me and realized love for her was always sacrifice. Then she stepped closer, breathing unevenly, and placed a folded letter with my name on the table. Paper warm in my numb fingers, sending a chill through my spine as she whispered that she never stopped loving me even when I walked away. My vision blurring as I unfolded the letter and felt truth strike harder than anger, every word carrying years of waiting and belief until time slowed, and I looked at her eyes full of hope and fear, understanding in shock that the real pain was knowing I would moments away from losing the only person who ever loved me without conditions, while the clock ticked again louder than ever. The ticking of the clock settled into my ears like a slow drum as I lifted my eyes from the letter and felt the weight of every memory press against my chest, the rain outside growing heavier as if the sky itself reacted to the silence between us, her face illuminated by the dim yellow light, revealing every line of exhaustion earned from loving too deeply. And I sensed the room breathing with us, the walls holding secrets, the floor remembering every step we once shared, my fingers tightening around the paper as words continued to blur into feelings, moments replaying without mercy, nights when she waited by the phone, mornings when hope returned despite disappointment, afternoons when laughter tried to hide cracks, and I realized how love had lived quietly even when I pretended it did not exist. My throat burning as the air felt thick and my heartbeat echoed in my ears, her presence filling the space so completely that escape felt impossible. She did not move closer, yet her energy wrapped around me stronger than any embrace, and I noticed the faint scent of her perfume mixed with rain and dust, a scent that once meant comfort and now meant consequence, the sound of distant traffic blending with the storm, creating a low hum that magnified every thought. And as my eyes traced her familiar features, I remembered promises made under open skies, hands intertwined with belief that time could never change us. But time had changed everything, leaving marks not only on her face but inside my own chest. And the letter continued to speak without sound, reminding me of sacrifices made without applause, of choices she respected even when they hurt her, of faith she carried alone, and my legs felt weak as understanding settled deeper, the shock transforming into awareness that love was standing unguarded in front of me, asking nothing yet deserving everything, the room growing warmer despite the cold air as emotion replaced fear. And I swallowed hard, sensing that a single word could shatter the moment, reshape the future, her eyes never leaving mine as if she searched for a sign, a movement, a truth I had hidden even from myself, my breathing uneven as I felt the past and present collide, images of shared laughter flashing beside memories of silence and distance, the sound of rain tapping the glass like a reminder that moments pass whether chosen or ignored, and I felt an ache spread through my chest, realizing that discomfort was not punishment but invitation, an invitation to finally confront what mattered, her quiet strength filling the space as she waited without pressure, without demands, and the shock deepened when I understood that love had not weakened her but strengthened her patience, the clock ticking again, marking another second that could never return, my grip loosening on the letter as tears threatened without permission, the paper trembling slightly as my emotions surfaced, the room seeming smaller yet clearer, every detail sharper, every breath heavier. And I stood there suspended between who I was and who I could become, feeling the weight of choice settle into my bones, the rain outside continuing its steady fall as if washing the world clean, while inside everything remained unresolved, her presence steady and real, my heart pounding with urgency and fear intertwined, the silence stretching yet not breaking, carrying the power to change everything while neither of us moved, neither of us spoke, and the moment continued to expand, pressing forward without release, demanding honesty, courage, and a decision that hovered just beyond reach. The rain outside intensified into a steady roar that pressed against the windows, as if the night itself leaned in to witness what unfolded between us, my chest rising and falling slowly while the silence stretched thin yet refused to break, her eyes still fixed on mine with a patience that felt heavier than any accusation, and I felt the room tilt inward as memories poured through me. Without warning, moments from years ago surfacing with sharp clarity, the first argument we never finished, the last smile I took for granted, the way she once waited at the door long after I stopped knocking, and my body reacted before my mind could follow, shoulders tightening, fingers flexing as if preparing for impact, the letter still warm in my hand as though it carried her pulse, the words inside echoing louder now even without reading, reminding me of nights she lay awake listening for my voice, mornings she convinced herself to believe again, days she chose strength instead of bitterness, and I felt exposed standing there, stripped of excuses, the dim light revealing not just her exhaustion, but my own reflection in the darkened glass, a version of myself shaped by avoidance and fear, the sound of my breathing too loud in the small room, my ears ringing as awareness deepened, the floor cool beneath my feet, grounding me in a moment I could no longer escape, her posture calm yet rigid like someone bracing for a truth they already knew. And the discomfort grew not from her presence, but from the realization that love had survived despite my distance, that it waited patiently while I convinced myself it was gone, the storm outside mirroring the tension inside as thunder rolled faintly in the distance, the walls seeming to pulse with every second that passed, my thoughts spiraling through what had been lost and what still stood within reach, the scent of rain mixing with her perfume and stirring a familiarity that made my chest ache, and I remembered the way she laughed freely before doubt entered her voice, the way her hands once fit naturally into mine without question, the way silence used to feel peaceful instead of punishing, and now silence demanded a response, demanded truth, her gaze unwavering as if she already sensed the shift inside me, my throat tightening as words formed but remained trapped, the fear of speaking wrong heavier than the fear of staying quiet, my heart beating harder with each tick of the clock as if urging me forward, the letter slipping slightly in my grip as my palm grew damp, the paper creasing under pressure while I stood suspended between confession and retreat, and I noticed the faint tremor in her hands despite her steady expression, proof that strength did not erase pain but carried it with grace, the rain streaking down the glass like tears the sky refused to hide, and I wondered how many tears she had hidden for me, how many times she chose silence to protect what little remained, and the shock returned not as surprise but as clarity, a sudden understanding that love was not the absence of discomfort, but the willingness to remain within it, the courage to stay present when leaving felt easier, my body leaning forward almost imperceptibly, as if drawn by gravity, the space between us shrinking though neither of us stepped closer, the room holding its breath. As anticipation thickened, my mind replaying moments when I chose pride over connection, distance over vulnerability, and the weight of those choices pressed down on me now without mercy, her eyes glistening under the light yet refusing to spill tears, a quiet resilience radiating from her that both inspired and humbled me, and I felt smaller yet more awake than ever before, the past no longer distant but alive in every sensation, the present demanding acknowledgement, the future looming undefined, the clock continuing its relentless rhythm as if counting chances rather than seconds, storm outside settling into a steady cadence that matched my heartbeat, and I sensed that this moment would echo long after the rain stopped, regardless of what followed, my chest tightening again, and I drew a slow breath, the air filling my lungs with the weight of truth, the silence stretching further yet pulsing with meaning, and I remained there facing her, letter in hand, heart exposed, standing at the edge of a choice that continued to grow heavier with every passing second. The room unchanged yet transformed, the night deepening, the rain falling, and the moment refusing to release its grip as everything waited for what would come next. The clock finally softened into the background as I let the letter fall gently onto the table and stepped forward. The distance between us closing not with urgency but with intention, my voice steady as truth found its way out, admitting fear, distance, and regret without defense, her breath catching as relief and disbelief crossed her face together, the rain outside easing into a quiet drizzle as if the night listened, her shoulders relaxing for the first time as I reached for her hands and felt warmth replace the cold that once lived between us, the room no longer tight but open, filled with understanding earned through pain, her eyes finally releasing tears that carried no bitterness, only release, and I realized love did not end with grand gestures but with honesty and choice, the choice to stay, to grow, to face discomfort together. The clock ticking once more, not as a warning, but as a reminder that time still moved forward, and this time we chose to move with it side by side, leaving the room calmer than before, hearts bruised yet stronger, stepping into the quiet night knowing love survived not because it was easy, but because it was real,